Hey guys, DOWSEY here, and welcome back to the home of super educational Dead by Daylight killer content here on YouTube. I'm very pleased to share with you that I was successful in my attempt to get 50 4Ks in a row with the twins. We started this streak on Tuesday after they released and were able to get it done in just 2 streams. So if you'd like to check the VODs for this 4K streak, then the VODs are linked in the description below so you can verify it for yourself and get to see everything that happened during this journey. And spoiler alert, the 4K streak is still ongoing. We're currently on 69, and I'm going to continue doing it until eventually I get bored of playing the twins, or I lose a game and we just go back to doing Variety Killer. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done a 4K streak before. When do I stop? Help. The rules for this 4K streak were very simple. Each game had to end with all 4 survivors dead, or it was considered a loss to the streak. So that meant that if a survivor escaped via the exit gate, or if they got hatched, or if they brought a key and escaped via the hatch as well, those were all considered losses. The only way to win was to kill all 4 survivors. There were a few exceptions made during this streak. One was if the survivors DC'd so that their teammates could get hatch, as that is an exploit of the way that the hatch mechanic works and it is uncontrollable by the killer. And the second was if the game froze during Victor's pounce. There's a game-breaking bug with Victor's pounce where he just freezes in place mid-pounce and you can't switch back to Charlotte and the game continues in the background. And so as your game is frozen, you can't do anything. We deemed that game as null and void as well. So I thought I would make this video so that I could share with you what makes the twins unique compared to the rest of the killer roster, what makes them strong, the best build for the twins, and then share with you 3 gameplays from the 4K streak. One will be a very hard game where we almost lost. One will be an absolute stomp where we used the killer perfectly. And then the third will probably just be a regular game so you can get a nice overarching look of what this killer is versus different teams. So let's kick things off by talking about what makes this killer strong compared to the rest of the killer roster in Dead by Daylight. And actually, it is very simple. The thing that makes this killer strong is macro. Macro is the large-scale stuff in any game. And in Dead by Daylight, really, before the twins released, there was only one other killer that played around macro as their main strategy. That was the Hag. As the Hag, you play a completely different from any other killer. You spawn in, you identify the area of the map that you wish to control, you set up all of your traps in that area, and then you play around the survivors moving into that area to win the game effectively. You shouldn't really be chasing survivors. You should be sticking to your game plan, and that is kind of the macro element that the Hag brings to Dead by Daylight. But in reality, no other killer compares to the macro control that the twins bring to the table. And it's what makes them so strong, and why on the public test build I thought they would be a top tier killer, because no other killer can do what they can do. No other killer can be in 2 places at once, contesting an area whilst downing survivors and injuring them, pressuring them off of generators. It's just not possible. Once you've hooked a survivor, you can leave Charlotte at the hook and go out with Victor to down an injured survivor on a generator, or incapacitate a survivor who is likely to want to make the rescue, and put pressure onto multiple survivors while still maintaining control of the hooked area. And realistically speaking, this killer is going to be more hated than the Spirit ever was. Once the community figures out their play style, survivors are going to find that they just really don't have much of a choice when it comes to contesting a good twins player, because they can't make a safe unhook because Charlotte or Victor will be there to contest them, and they can't really work generators on the other side of the map because the Charlotte or Victor will be there to contest them. The killer has all the control. Balance talk aside, I wanted to go over what a standard game of the twins may look like and how you can set up success for yourself with playing this new killer. Let's go over the perks now, as they're going to kind of feed into the gameplay style that we were using with the twins. We've got Barbecue and Chili, Corrupt Intervention, Hex Ruin, and Hex Undying. Let's talk about Corrupt Intervention first, because it's the first thing that is going to be applicable in any game you play. 3 generators that are furthest spawned from you are going to be blocked for 2 minutes. And with Charlotte, what you want to do is enter into the rough center of the 4 generators that are unblocked, and then park up there and send Victor out into the map. Victor's movement speed is 100. and 50%, meaning he can get around the map very quickly. And if you bring the purple add-on Forest Stew, it increases it by 15%, so you're 165. If you bring Paladin Scarf, the green add-on, increases it by 10%, so you're 160, or combined, you're 175. Essentially, if you do decide to run double movement speed on Victor, you are faster than a Spirit's Phase Walk, but you can see the survivors. And your main objective really is to scout out the survivor spawn with Victor and pounce on the first survivor that you find. When you do this, one of two things will happen. Either the survivor will release Victor to you within 8 seconds, and if that's the case, then you can utilize Victor again immediately, or they're going to hold Victor hostage, and this is a win-win scenario for you because of Corrupt Intervention. During those first 2 minutes, if the survivor is holding Victor hostage, then that means you are playing a 3v1 during a moment where only 4 generators can be completed. Very easy for you to go out as a 115% movement speed killer and pressure the remaining survivors on the board, injuring them. And then once you do find yourself in a scenario where maybe 2, 3, or even all 4 survivors are injured, you then have the choice to recall Victor back after 45 seconds and then send him out immediately and slug all 4 survivors, ending the game right there at 5 gens remaining. Another reason this killer is going to be hated by survivors is their slugging potential when everyone is injured is insane, and it's the most effective way to play them. The amount of times I won games at 5 gens remaining by slugging all 4 survivors because they made the mistake of getting injured versus me or holding Victor hostage versus me. Well, I don't really want to talk about it. It was too many to feel good about it. But let's say the survivors don't play that awfully versus the twins, and you down and hook your first survivor. Well, then you get barbecue and chili. And with barbecue and chili, you want to try and identify where all 3 survivors are on the map, and also keep track of which survivors are injured, because those are going to be the survivors you target. I've seen some people talking about leaving Victor under the hook and then going out into the map as Charlotte to contest those survivors. The reason being is that when a survivor approaches, you'll get Killer's Instinct from 10 meters away, and then you can pounce on the survivor. If they're injured, you'll down and slug them. If they're full health, you'll incapacitate them. There's a lot of misconceptions about the incapacitated status effect. It actually doesn't stop a survivor from unhooking. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a less effective way of playing the twins, because the incapacitated survivor can still unhook the survivor. Instead, I would say it is much more effective to leave Charlotte near the hook and then use Victor's movement speed to go out into the rest of the map and start pressuring the survivors. And if you can find an injured survivor, then you want to pounce on them and down them, leaving them slugged so that you can then go find another survivor who may be injured. Or if you can find a full health survivor, you incapacitate them. And when you incapacitate a survivor whilst you have another survivor on a hook, maybe another survivor downed and slugged, then you have your hooked guy, your incapacitated guy, and your slug guy, who cannot work on generators, meaning that there is only a possibility of 1 survivor who can work on generators, and chances are that guy is going to be pretty easy to find as well if you're able to see everything on barbecue and chili, or they're going to be trying to make the rescue, or they're actually just going to sit on a generator, because the Hex Ruin really dissuades people from hopping off their generators because they don't want to lose that progress. And this is where the twins' macro gameplay control is unbelievably overwhelming for the survivor team, because it's almost impossible in that scenario to make a safe unhook onto a survivor, because Charlotte is there to pressure if you do, and Victor can be pressuring the rest of the team if you don't. It's a lose-lose situation for the survivors. As many people know, Victor cannot make any use of the perks that you bring, but passive perks do operate in the background, so that makes Hex Ruin super strong, as it's going to be able to regress generators when the survivor hops off of the generator, and you can force them off using Victor by either pouncing on them, incapacitating them so they can't work through the generator, or if they're injured, pouncing on them and slugging them so the generator starts regressing. And then Hex Undying is just your Ruin protecting perk. Essentially, it's going to extend the life of Ruin by at least 1 Hex cleanse, and this just gives you more control as the trial goes on. Not to mention that whenever you are playing as Charlotte, if the survivor is on the totem, you'll see their aura and you can send Victor over to contest them due to his 150% movement speed. This is the build that I ran for the majority of the 4K streak. There was a moment at the start of the streak for maybe 15 games where I didn't have Hex Undying, so I was using Mindbreaker in its place. Mindbreaker exhausts the survivors for 5 seconds when they're working on a generator, and this works whilst you are playing as Victor as well. So it was fairly useful for guaranteeing that chase starts were easy peasy, no sprint bursts or dead hards to dodge out a pounce. But as soon as I got Hex Undying, I knew I had to put it in the build as it was going to protect my Hex Ruin for the majority of the game and just provide more consistency when it comes to gen regression. As far as add-ons were concerned, I played with quite a few of them as I was exhausting my add-on pile. The best add-on by far is Toy Sword, which reduces the charge time necessary to pounce with Victor. It removes so much counterplay that the survivor has with trying to dodge the pounce, allows you to get those hits around tight objects as well more effectively. It's a brown add-on, so it's super effective in what it does. And when I didn't have it, it wasn't necessarily hard to play Victor, but it was easy to play Victor when I had Toy Sword. As far as the secondary add-on was concerned, that was constantly changing based on what I had available. I was running Forest Stew or Malin Scarf, which increases Victor's movement speed, depending on which one I had available. If there was a key in the lobby, then I switched that out for Spinning Top, which makes the survivor drop their item whenever Victor pounces on them. So it's essentially Franklin's demise without the item deleting effect. If I didn't have movement speed add-ons available, I was using Bloodied Black Hood, which allowed me to switch back to Charlotte a little bit quicker. And then I could use her to tag team, add a short loop with Victor, and just have a little bit more control over the map. And then I was also experimenting a little bit with Stale Biscuit, which reduces the amount of time it takes to recover from a pounce by half a second, and it just gives you a little bit more snowball potential because it closes the window that a survivor can kick you after a successful or a missed pounce by half a second, and that can just throw a survivor off a little bit. I have a lot of people asking me to place the twins onto a tier list, and I never feel comfortable doing this shortly after release of the killer because it takes survivors a really long time to figure out how they need to play versus a killer. And if you don't give them that time, then a killer may appear stronger than they really are. And I want to make sure that all of those things have been given enough time before establishing an exact position on a tier list. But my current thoughts and feelings is that this killer is top tier, which means on my tier list, they will belong somewhere between the S and the A tier. Quite a bold prediction, but we'll give it time before making that official. So this is a bit of a video that the majority of you have probably skipped forward for. We're going to show some gameplays from this 4K streak so that you guys get an idea of how this killer plays. The first up is a game where my Hex Undying and Hex Ruin got cleansed within the first 20 seconds of the game, and I didn't really play very well. I was kind of tilted and concerned and stressed and anxious that I was going to lose this 4K streak, so it got very close to the survivors winning. But this will show the absolute control that the twins can have around a hooked survivor and how you can utilize that to turn a game into your favor. Second gameplay, absolute stomp, showcases perfect play of the twins as far as I'm concerned. And then your third is a regular gameplay. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and come and check out the Twitch stream if you would like to see the 4K streak continue. Maybe we'll hit 100. I need you to lose DOWSEY so I can finally redeem my killer request. What if I start a second streak? No one expects the second streak. Anyone else find this map really hard to navigate now? Not hard to navigate, but just like know where you are or where the survivors are. It feels weird. I think I might open up all the doors. I think opening up doors on Victor is actually wise. Wow, we got Ruin Undyinged. Just like that, we lost our gen regression. That hard, is there any escape? Oh, okay, fair play. No basement here. Oh. 2 survivors over there. One just healed close, probably in this jungle gym set. Damn, he dodged it. Same mistake, huh? I'm hoping that she doesn't have DS. I am tunneling here because of the rune undying cleanse curly. The good news is that one of them is holding hostage. Which means that we're effectively playing a 3 survivor game at the moment. We also know they're close. Because healed. We got basement, unless he doesn't has dead hard. And we might. We still have basement. Okay, amazing. We need this. Okay. Do I have a 3-gen in this area? Look at them, they're on 3 separate gens. Fuck. No dead hard. She's still not dead harding. I'm just missing. That's fine. This I will go second kiss stage. I'll force it. They're down to 1 gen, which is really scary. What is double movement, Victor? Is Cheryl rescuing? Yes. Double movement speed add-ons look like on Victor. He goes to 165. That's pretty nuts. No, sorry, 175 even. 175, even faster. It's 165 with purple. They single healed. Huge. Now they're healing over there. Hey, Toxic Race, how you doing? I need her to stay alive. I don't need... Oh, I can't. Got a key? No. Dude, I'm so paranoid. These guys who kidnap are really the team's worst players. Kidnapping is not viable. See how I'm playing around the kidnapping and how it just favors me in every which way? If you kick me, I'll be upset. Dun, 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 dun. What a terrible decision by me. Oh my goodness, I suck. Josh, 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 Josh. Yeah, there we go. GG. Does it ever feel to be as good as you are, just stomping around Ruthless, Compton ambition? It doesn't feel dirty, but definitely the idea of doing this streak sometimes feels a little bit like unnecessary, like the build and play style. And then we get a game like this where I fuck up every which moment that I can, and it's like, okay, well, I guess it's how you have to play it. I hope she gives up on Hook. Thank you. Now I get to hook her and not worry about Hatch. Yeah, Rune Undying went really early. So this game was a 1 perk game for the majority. I mean, the corrupt did a lot. I can't discount the corrupt, but yeah, very difficult to play versus a killer when they get basement control, which is what we did. We took basement control as it was the only win condition I think that we had this game because I misplayed a lot of it. How you doing, Davisa? Howdy. All right, so we're in the center of our corrupt, so that means we come out of our power. Whenever you're in the center of your corrupt, that's when you want to be. If you're using corrupt, for example, that's where you want to come out of. The idea of Charlotte is that she's like a sentry, right? So you place her in an area that you need to guard. That's unlucky that we lost our ruin, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Well, it might be actually. Hard to say. All the survivors are with each other. We all turned around as well at the same time. Alright, let's see how these guys play this. There's a survivor over here and they're going to work on a gen, so I much care more about them than I do the others. He's exhausted, which is great. Right now I know that no one's working gens based on the fact that I'm in chase with this one survivor. And those guys are on the corner of the map with Victor, so this is great for me. This hostage play is not really working for the survivors in any way. We got a dead hard back, so she walked it off, I guess. And we get Victor back in just a second now. So no one's done any gens. Victor's now expired on the survivor. And we get barbecue to see where all those guys were. Yeah. One's in the center of the map and the other two are just sitting in the corner of the map. So this is where the locker play, sorry, the hostage play kind of falls apart. As the survivors. Well, she's going to hop in the locker. What did I hit? I hit something random. I cannot say anything about this survivors movement being regular. He's gone towards those guys over there. We'll get Victor back in a second and we can contest the hook here and as well as set up in the center of the map, which will be really helpful for us. Remember, this Dwight likes to play hostage with Victor, so getting Victor on him is really huge. Perfect. You have to time it for the pallet drop. It's a bit like Huntress. He can rescue her, but we'll down him if he does so. So he's not going to release her. Yeah, a bit strange. So she went second stage. I expect there to be a second survivor coming this direction. There's Nia. And she gave up. Lovely. Already, really good start to this game. Survivors tried to play it like toxic in the way that they held Victor hostage, and it just did not work. Almost got her. So this guy's on the floor next to us, by the way. So what we're doing is whenever we down a survivor, like this Dwight here, we're contesting as many survivors as possible at the same time. So we've contested the Nia, we've contested the Dwight, and now the Claudette as well. And if I want to, I then just go find the Nia, and we win the game. So that's kind of how you play this killer. Nia's here. I didn't see where Dwight went. Let's try and get Dwight real quick. And then we'll go and try and get Nia because they're playing silly buggers. Hello. Alright, there we go. GG. Much quicker game. These survivors made much more errors compared to the other team. Alright, where's our hooks at? Alright, cool. The area is moving away from the... And you can see in this game here, we had the survivor play hostage around Victor. It doesn't matter the hostage play anymore, now that the 45-second recall exists. So, basically, this killer is like the next top tier killer as far as I'm concerned. What does Rafe give you? Yeah, so Rafe basically his chaser is always high because of his ability. And what's the other things? Devout. I mean, if you can get good Devout, then you pretty much are good to go because everything else is high on him. So. I don't know if I get here in time. Yeah, I don't. Is it my undying? It was, unfortunate. Is there 2 survivors here? There is, that's amazing. This is what we want. So we're playing Sentry with Corrupt Intervention. What that means is I camp myself in the middle of the Corrupt Intervention as Charlotte, right? And then I go scouting with Victor. The reason we went all the way across the map was because of Undying Totem showing us the aura. So we knew where the Meg was. And now what we've done is, by playing Sentry, we've prevented all gen progress on this 4-gen here by sitting in the middle of it and injured 3 survivors in the process. This killer is all about the macro play. Big picture. How you play the game, how you play the board, how you're going to control the survivors. And here's the 4th survivor with Meg, who's been healed. Currently, Nia is holding Victor hostage, which is fine, because what that means is Nia can no longer do gens for 45 seconds. She can't heal her teammates for 45 seconds. And I get to play around this area of the map and prevent the survivors in this area of the map from doing stuff. So it's really no biggie for me that Nia is playing this way. Now everyone's injured. And I'm about to get Victor back. Alright, I recall. Wait 6 seconds. And then I have him now. Oh, that connected. Fine. So they're mass healing right now. So I actually don't want to take this down, I don't think. If I can find a survivor injured in my 4-gen, I'll be much happier. Because she's really far away from my 4-gen. So we'll try and take out this Claudette here instead. Yo, Cardinal, thank you so much for the tip. That's really generous of you. Appreciate the support. Alright, so this is Claudette here. Oh, I'm stuck. This is the worst case scenario. Hopefully I can get out of it. No, I'm in the center. Oh, that's really bad. This is going to be game changing in a really poor way. I'm just going to open the locker because I don't know where the Claudette went. Oh, I hate this bug so much. This means I'm out of victor mode for 90 seconds. Devastating. Unless the survivor comes in and finds him or kicks him. We just lost our ruin as well. Alright, so it looks like Claudia is going to kick him, so maybe she was in a locker. This is huge. Thank you, Claudia. This ain't looking good. Oh, this is fine. We generated a lot of pressure already. It's just, that was unfortunate. Just an unfortunate stop. Not a big deal there. Not the end of the world. Alright, so we take this down this time. Once someone kicks him? Yeah, once someone kicks him, but that requires the survivor to come to the corner of the map and kick him. We got lucky that Claudia was there. I think she was in one of the lockers. Thanks, yeah. Really huge. And all of a sudden, this game goes from kind of in a bit of a bad spot to, hey, look, we're winning. Good morning, Nasty Nate. How you doing? Alright, so 2 gens get done on the non-corrupted side. And they're really far away. Huge. So one's coming from the left and one's coming from the right. So we're going to go for the one on the left with Victor and then contest the one on the right with Charlotte. That's the right tested, and then this one here is about to arrive, and instantly they're running away. So you love that a lot, don't you? This Nia held on to Victor last time, but this time they didn't. If I can unbind Victor, I can win the game right now. Alright. GG. Borrow time doesn't work when Victor is active because Victor has not got a terror raiders. Alright. It's a bit like how you have to play your playstyle. You have to play the playstyle that suits the killer, and if you don't do that, then you're in trouble.